around this time, El, it's a normal Tuesday morning. And then I kind of sneak into lunch. I had Dunkin' Donuts this day. I had a $6 meal deal. I had the iced coffee. I had the bacon sandwich. And then I look at my clock. I'm like, you know what time it is? It's Savage time. One of my favorite people on this planet, soon to be UFC strawweight champion, the one and only Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
What's up? Why are you bragging about having Dunkin' Donuts for lunch? And I'm jealous.
My fault.
I honestly didn't know where you were going. I didn't see G's picture was too low in my green room, so I was like, where are we going with this? Why are we talking about lunchtime?
Hey, dude, that's why I'm the host of the year, El Dawson. You know what I mean? So G, how's life? How's everything with you?
I feel like a lot's happened since the last time I've talked to you guys.
No, it's been a minute. Minute. We miss you.
I'm sorry you didn't get to see whale sharks.
I know.
For you. But...
So, I don't know if I talked to you guys before or after my 30th birthday last. I'm like, I think it might have been before. I'm like, I've had my 30th birthday. I went to Mexico, went to Colorado to train with Rose, then came back home, and may have gotten fight news somewhere in the mix of that. So it's like everything's just been happening in a short period of time. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I talked to you guys before or not. I went home for my birthday, celebrated up there, then went to Mexico. Like Elle said, I was supposed to see whale sharks. We went out there and we were looking for them. They said
looked awesome though. Looked awesome.
It was absolutely gorgeous out there. It was a great time in general.
Yeah.
But we ended up swimming with manta rays. We found some of those. So they're like 10 feet across, absolutely huge. So that was kind of cool.
That's dope. That's pretty sick.
That is cool.
It sounds better than my trip because for my 31st birthday, we went to down near Raccoon Island off Miami Beach, and I did not see a single raccoon.
It's called Raccoon Island?
Called Raccoon Island. I couldn't find a single one. I brought them potato chips. Couldn't find
We'll get into all this. We'll get into more island stuff. We got 50 minutes with G with all these trips we're doing. I've been trying to keep this surprise for like 8 minutes, G, and I'm the worst person. So I think I already gave enough clues for El Dawson. But I'm going to push this button. Friday, June 13th, massive UFC card break at the Dawson's house. We got all these people coming through. By the way, breaking news, Gillian Robertson will be coming through as well.
Bring your dogs. They can play with my dogs.
They're a little bit nervous. And I don't know, the 6-pound one, I'm like, he has to, establish himself. He always has to be like the biggest dog in the room. So yeah.
Little man syndrome. Honestly, with all the camera, the camera equipment, maybe we shouldn't have.
Yeah, we got like a camera crew coming in. Gee, this is gonna be like legit stuff. We might have a new UFC champion, maybe a female bantamweight champion. Yeah, coming through. So we'll see. We'll see, a lot to get into. But all right, back to the trip. Back to a fun trip. When I was I have social media. So usually if it's me, I have my 3 or 4 go-tos. G's a part of those top 3 or 4. So like for a day and a half, it was just Gillian doing another crazy fun activity in this amazing island. It was just like, seemed like the coolest 36 hours ever. You were hanging upside down. What is they called?
Zip lining.
Zip lining, yeah. That looked amazing. Water stuff. It just seemed like you had literally the greatest little trip ever.
So it's honestly the first time I've ever went on a trip, at least since I've been in the UFC, that hasn't involved training.
Yeah. Crazy.
And honestly, I was still even trying to find a gym out there. We didn't end up finding one, but I was posted online trying to make sure that, trying to see if something was closed. Everything was just a little bit too far out of the ways.
Good. You deserve the time off.
But you did go with the fighter. Her Annabelle, right? Is that her name? Annabelle?
Yeah, Anna. Yeah, she's had a couple amateur fights so far, but yeah, she came out with me, and like I said, it was an absolutely amazing time. It was gorgeous out there. The water's just absolutely like crystal clear blue. Because we didn't get to see any whale sharks, they ended up taking us to a little reef nearby too, so we got to snorkel around there, which was cool. So I'm like, it was just an all-around good experience, and then went from there straight to Colorado to go train with Rose Namajunas in high elevation, which was fun.
How did you do that with your bag? Like, to me, that's like
Did you
beach clothes, bikini stuff. And Colorado, I know it's not winter time, but I would assume it's still kind of cold at night, right? Or no?
Yeah, it's probably about like 50 or 60 there.
Oh, yeah, that's cold. That's cold. That's cold.
Yeah, it's Florida cold.
Yeah, that's Florida cold for sure.
But literally, I brought my absolute biggest case. It was divided in half training clothes, half the stuff for Cancun. And literally, when I didn't get to weigh it, obviously while I was in Cancun, I put it on the scale and it was 50.0. I was like impressed with myself.
Mine definitely would have been like 70 pounds if I tried to pack that. Would have been rough. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's like Gillian gets another UFC win. We're like, yeah, we're used to it. You know, we have a UFC record. We're like, okay, guys, next topic. 50 pounds on the luggage. We're like, damn, gee, incredible. But so how was Colorado? How was I know that you mainly went out there for Rose. Rose will fight Miranda Maverick in Atlanta in, I believe, 2 weeks away. We're getting close. 2 weeks away. How did that go? And did you see anyone else out there, or was it mainly just you and Rose kind of going at it?
It was mainly just me and Rose. Had a couple girls hit me up. Actually, someone who was supposed to fight us, like Macy Barber, hit me up while I was out there. Lauren Murphy hit me up while I was out there, all trying to get to work with me. But like I said, I was mainly out there for Rose, so I just kind of stuck with her.
Wait, Macy Barber wanted the train?
I don't know. She just hit me up on Instagram whenever I posted that I was out there. And she was like, oh, me too. So I was like, I just told her I was out there for Rose. Didn't really get into any more than that. But it was an absolutely, like, there's reasons why she's a world champion.
Yeah.
It's just an honor to be in the cage with her. I'm like, she is so fast, so crisp on the feet. She changes her stances and changes her angles very well. So she's very hard to find. Even on the ground, she's very defensively aware, creates scrambles when she needs to, is good at getting back up to her feet. She's just, like I said, there's reasons why she was a former world champion. And it was just an honor to be a little part of her camp there.
I don't want to take it so much into this, but I want like more of the rounded, more stories of what you were doing. But it just seems like Rose was on it. Seems like Rose is looking good, feeling good, quick. I hate to say that. I don't want to talk for you, but you assume probably Rose would get the job done against Miranda Maverick after kind of being with her?
I believe so. Obviously, they've trained in the past too, so they have a little, like, we're able to study some, like, footage and things like that from their past sparring sessions, things like that. Which, I'm like, I think that's very unique for a camp too. I'm like, even when I fought Mashka, who we trained together at ATT for a couple years, I'm like, we never had footage or anything like that where we could really sit there and be like, okay, this is what was happening. But yeah, it's cool that they have this little bit of past together. They're able to really strategically game plan to get for each other now, really, I guess, get prepared for this fight. And Rose was 3 weeks out. I feel like for me, at least, I'm like, that's when I am peaking. And she felt like that. She just felt like she was on one that week, like everything just felt on point. She was killing cardio, like killing the Aerodyne after, like just absolutely on point. It was just fight camp though while we're out there. It's like we trained, we woke up, we sparred, then we come back to the house, we nap, we go. Her garage is like my dream setup, honestly, completely matted out, just like gorgeous. And so we would just go in the garage every night and train there. One night
does she live on big land?
Not huge, but like decent.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. She has her whole backyard. She has a little farm, which is
dope. Yeah.
That's what she literally like grows her own like tomatoes, peas, grapes, like everything out there. She just has her own little setup. So it's like her house is very cool. Honestly, like probably my dream kind of setup. Just having like your own little place, a gym, a little farm in the back, it was nice. And that's where we did most of our training at night. So we like every night we were in there for like an hour plus just working and then getting back like we went up to, I don't know if you know Morgan Black, Mo Black. She's a bigger name in the jiu-jitsu world. We went to her school. It was in Colorado Springs, about an hour away. We did a live, like it was all live day, but it was all girls there. So it was probably about like 10 plus girls. So it was a good group out there. And then, yeah, it was, I didn't really get to see anyone else besides that. It was just us, like I said, fight camp. Fight camp's boring.
I have so you say that I have so many questions. One, when you're at this girl jits class only, how many arms did you break? How many necks did you choke? Okay, I want to know about that. Then two, you're out there in Colorado. So I would assume, maybe this is very naive of me, but with you flying everywhere, I would assume Jillian's not allowed to bring her extra activities with her during flights. So how did you
Colorado.
Yeah. So now you're in Colorado. Are you and Rose just she's just handing you green plants? Is Rose not part of that? What I need more details. I need more fun stuff.
Well, Rose said that she used to be a part of that for a while, but the last couple of years she's kind of been, I don't know, she said that she just decided one day she didn't really want to smoke anymore. So she wasn't a part of it, but I definitely was. It's definitely so nice to have it in Colorado, just so convenient. And yeah, it definitely helps with the experience, but doesn't help with the elevation, which was a bitch the whole time.
Yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing.
I was in Vegas last weekend, and I don't usually I'm there for Grant's fight week. I don't train the first day when I get to Vegas. I forgot the difference between just Florida and Vegas elevation.
Oh, crazy.
I rolled with Pollyanna and Vanessa Demopoulos, and I was exhausted.
We got to talk about that, by the way, Al.
What?
For one, what is Grant Dawson doing in Vanessa Demopoulos' house? What's going on?
We went to the Iridium gym to train. Okay. Iridium has a small facility for
I've been there.
Managed fighters. We went there to train. They don't have a shower. So we went, Vanessa was like, oh, I live 5 minutes away. You guys can come to my house and get ready. And then we all went out to eat. We took Vanessa and Evan out for lunch since she let us use her bathroom, and Evan was training with Grant. So we took them out for lunch after. Vanessa has a stripper pole in the middle of her living room. And Grant was like, I think I'm going to swing around that. And so now we have that on video. So very happy.
Fight Bananas exclusive.
Now video footage of that happening. But
I
I digress. Vegas even has high elevation. I can't imagine what Colorado felt like.
How was training with Vanessa and Pollyanna?
It was really fun. It's always cool. I'm sure, getting to go to another facility where there's girls you don't roll with every single day that know your style and know what you do. Like, it's always nice to work with a different style or different bodies. So it was really fun. It was a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like, especially like if you're from the same gym, you're always drilling the same moves with each other. So it's like, okay, I know exactly where she's going from here. But when I go to another school, they don't know my setups. They don't know where I'm going. So it's like, I'm able to play my game a little bit different.
Yeah. No, it's always super fun.
And I say this all the time. I don't know. I don't know. I could just pick G's brain about this forever. I just love stuff like this. To me, it's like behind the scenes stuff. I don't know how to say it. But like when you're training with Rose and she got you out there, you're there for her. Do you kind of, I don't want to say let her win. It's not that, but do you you don't want to do anything of your moves? Like you're giving her rounds. Am I right? Like you're there for her. You're trying to do a certain way, but you're not like working on your stuff. Does that make sense?
I guess not necessarily. I am still working on my stuff. I'm still trying to give her the best look possible, So it's like I want to try to, obviously with me it would be on the ground. I want to try to get in those finishing positions on the ground, because like, what if she gets in that position with Miranda? She wants to be prepared for that. So it's like, I'm trying to give her the best look. And like, that being said, I'm like, the rounds were very hard. I'm like I said, the elevation, plus she is just good all around. She is just a world champion. So I'm like, with me not being able to breathe and her being 3 weeks, like me being out of camp, her being 3 weeks out. Yeah, she's like going up and I'm like leveled right now. So I'm like, she just felt like she was peaking this whole time. So I'm like, even like that being said, it's not like I was able to work a lot of my stuff,
Right.
Have you trained with her? Did you ever train with her before? I know you've been part of camps against Rose, but did you ever train with her when she was fighting at strawweight? I'm curious, like how much
she's big now.
She looks like she should have been a flyweight, now that we see her at flyweight.
In my head, I never know how big I am. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, she's still the same size as me. But
she and her dog have the same syndrome.
Exactly. But,
That's a good one, Elle Dawson.
We never trained before. The only time we obviously grappled against each other in Fury, I think that was 2 years ago now. And that's the only real like interaction we've ever had with each other prior to this.
You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, G. Is it at the very beginning, you're like, that performance, and I do think that was a little bit of a jump. It's like, hey, the MMA world saw what you did in that grappling. You looked phenomenal, submitted their first round. Like that was a little bit of a jump, I believe, for you confidence-wise and just to the mainstream MMA fans. So is this the first time you've seen Rose since that? And if it is it like, do you like have to say like, all right, that's over? Or is there one funny line? Do you, hey, Fury, like, do you kind of stick it in her one time and then like it's over?
No, they were kind of joking about it with me before I made any comments.
Okay. There you go.
Her husband, Pat Barry, kept on saying, he's like, that arm drag rear naked choke. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. And then even she posted a little clip of we did like 40-minute flow sparring round. She posted a little clip of it, and her caption on it was, "Didn't get choked this time, y'all." I'm like, she's definitely poking fun at it. I'm like, for me, well, one, if it was a fight, I wouldn't care. Two, like, I feel like people can be a little bit weirder about fights than they can be grappling matches. I'm like, I really don't care with a grappling match, and if it was a fight, I don't care either. And I feel like she's very much in the same, like, perspective as me when it comes to fighting. I'm like, we were both talking, like, I'd fight my best friend. I don't care. Like, I'm like, there's nothing personal about it. Like, we're doing it every day in the gym anyway. Why not go get some money for it on the big stage? Yeah. And I feel like she's in the exact same headspace where it's just like, I don't know, some people don't have as like bold of an approach.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Wow. So there you go. That was G's 2-week excursion. Anything else? Any other fun stories? People you met there? Dinners? Did you try something new that you're like, oh, this was phenomenal?
I guess nothing really. More like I said, fight camp's boring. They kept on apologizing to me. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry that like there's so much downtime." I'm like, "No, that's what it is." I'm like, "You train, you come home, you sleep, and that's about it." So it was just a lot of that. Like we definitely worked hard.
Not yet. We're not allowed today. Not allowed today.
We definitely worked hard. We definitely got a text about something. But yeah, we're not getting into that. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
We might be getting into that soon. But yeah, not yet. But yeah, so it was definitely a good weekend. Well, good. It was 5 days out there.
Yeah, that's a good week. That's a good week for sure. That's awesome. That's very cool. And dude, Rose Namajunas, SU. Okay, I tried. Rose Namajunas, the co-main event of UFC Atlanta, main event Buckley and Usman. That's like, we're halfway through this week, so that's like 10 days away now. It's crazy how it seems like I at least for me, guys, like that fight announcement happens, and then like you just put that in the background, and then like fights happen, and then like boom, we're here. All right, I do want to get into UFC 316 with G real quick, but before that, we mentioned her name one time quickly. Probably one of the biggest news in female MMA history, and probably in a negative way too. They show the highlight video, Aaron Blanchfield, Macy Barber, the boom, 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 and all of a sudden the lights turn on. They don't fight. G, I don't know if you watched it live or maybe you caught it back the next day and saw everything. Crazy scene, Macy Barber with sad health issues. That fight did not happen. What's your take on it? Maybe you know more than some other people or maybe less. What's your take on what happened with Macy Barber?
So I might know more than some other people. I don't know. I've heard from a couple different people saying that this isn't the first time she's had those seizures.
Correct. Yeah, it's out there that she's had seizures for weeks on, like 3 weeks before the fight. It was happening, and their decision, Macy's and the team, was like, hey, it's a little bad thing. Maybe everyone goes through a little fight, injury, but they want to go through it. And they tried and did not work out.
I think something of that level of like when you are having seizures, it is just unprofessional at that point to take the fight, especially if you are the main event. I'm like, the
100%.
amount of money that the UFC poured into you for you to like, you're on the poster, on every single poster, you know? I'm like, it's just, you wasted such a huge opportunity for the promotion. And like I said, just the fact that she had prior knowledge to this, that she couldn't give them the heads up 3 weeks before of like, hey, this is happening. Maybe you guys need to find a new main event for this. And she needed to take care of her health issues. And honestly, something like that, like I don't obviously she needs to look into it further, but like maybe she shouldn't fight again if things like that are happening. Cause I feel like if it's a possibility for the way that I heard it was that she got jabbed in sparring and started having a seizure initially. So I'm like, if that happens in the cage, what like it's not safe.
It's not, and that's terrible. It's terrible, and terrifying is what I was trying to. But also like
what L?
terrible. To the same effect, like I'm shocked that the UFC put her in this main event spot in such a big fight when she has been so inactive and has had to pull out of fights like the Rose fight. Like, do you feel like they kind of made an oopsie, or are you putting this more on Macy?
I'd put it a little bit more on Macy. I don't know. Obviously, like apparently she said like going into the Rose fight, she was like unsure, but like she accepted it, but knew she had some health issues and then decided to pull out later. Yeah, I think it's more on her shoulders, like because she has been off for a while, so I feel like the UFC has no, I guess, real reason to question that.
Yeah.
There's so much blame to go around, and it's crazy that decisions made by Macy and her team, and then decisions I think as well by the UFC, stunted Erin Blanchfield and what she's trying to do. She's on this same as you, G, like she's on this championship path right now in the flyweight division, and it's like such a I in a weird way, I think this fight, this little mystery kind of thing will always follow Erin. Like she will, like if she fights for the title next and doesn't fight, like kind of just skips the line in a weird way. It's like, hey, did she like, it's just going to be weird. It's going to follow her. I think she has to win again. I would assume against someone. Crazy. And just, and G, we said this before you got on. I don't know how you feel about it. Like, I know how much you love mixed martial arts, and I know how much you love fighting for the UFC. I think you guys know how much I love this and Fight Bananas and what we do. If something medical was trying to take me away from it, and in a serious way, I have, and I'm just speaking for myself, I have so much other good in my life that it's like I would be devastated and I would miss this so much. But I'm like, no. Dude, my kids need me. I got to do stuff. I got to be a good dad. I got to be a good husband. I still got to provide. I got to like move on. It seemed like Macy, like she should have been smart enough and mature enough to be like, no, I got to pause. Like this is very high level medical issue. It's like, if I have to sit out years, that's what you got to do. I know no fighter wants to, but I think this is, if she would have got hit the wrong way by Erin Blanchfield, who knows? Like that could
in a UFC case.
Yeah, it could be in the first death. Yeah, it's
it's
crazy.
Way too. I agree with what you're saying. Like that's just not safe.
No, I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I also, like you said, you can take a step back and be like, okay, I have these other things where I feel like, and I'm not saying this is true for Macy, but it is true for a lot of fighters where we just so heavily identify with being a fighter. Yep. And it's like, that is who we are. And without that, it's like, who like you don't have an identity essentially, so I feel like it's definitely, I don't know, it might be some of that, some of like her just being a fighter, some of it being ego, some of the fact that Blanchfield was talking about like, oh, she's gonna pull out and because of the Rose incident. So it could have just been like that extra pressure from Erin Blanchfield where Macy didn't want to make that decision, which obviously not smart, but fighters aren't the smartest people all the time.
Agreed. And I kind of said that earlier when we first talked about this, but I think she really didn't want to be the one to pull herself out of the She wanted it to be somebody else's decision.
Mm.
And the fact that her team didn't make that decision for her when she had a seizure in training is definitely concerning. And it took until the medical team in the back was like, oh, this is happening? Okay, yeah, you're not fighting. Like, she didn't want to be the one to pull herself out, which I understand. Like, it's not always the smartest thing, but I think you've probably experienced that. Like, I have.
Oh, no, I've definitely been in that position. I'm like, I feel like even, I don't know, my last loss, I knew I wanted to pull out the whole time, but I didn't pull out because I was so like just determined of, no, I can do this. No, I can do this. But I guess deep down, I didn't have the maturity to be like, I can't do this, you know? And I almost wanted a coach to do it. But at the end of the day, you do have to learn to do that yourself. You do have to learn at what point, like at that point, it was a quick turnaround weight wise. I lost my dog that like 2 weeks after that. I'm like, it was just so much stress. My weight was up so much higher. I wasn't even focused on the fight. I'm like, it wasn't an opportunity I should have taken at that point. But I also didn't have it in me to be like, no, I'm going to step back and not do this. You know, I went in there and I literally just completely like black out during the fight, essentially. You know, you just go through the motions and you're just thinking about what's after. You're thinking about, oh, I can't wait to go home and do this. I can't wait to be in my bed. You're not thinking about, I can't wait to perform.
Yeah.
With that all being said, G, so if God forbid anything close to that happen again for you in this next camp or the camp afterwards, do you think you'd be like, nope, I did this before. I learned my lesson. I'm going to step out. I'm going to pull out. Because I don't think you've ever pulled out of a fight, right?
No, I've never pulled out of a fight. And like, even so, like when I fought Macy Barber, when I think I was like 23 or 24 back then, 6 weeks out from the fight, I did a jiu-jitsu competition and I partially tore my meniscus. And I'm like, so for that whole camp, I didn't spar at all. I wasn't really able to get a full training camp in, but I still went through those next 6 weeks, like pushing through it and didn't pull out of that fight. And I'm like, why? Like looking back at 24-year-old Gillian, I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, you couldn't even spar the whole camp. So it's 100% something I feel like was a learning lesson for me. And it's definitely something with me just being a fighter and my ego of like, no, I can do it. I'm not going to pull out. I can do it. But I need to learn for myself of, no, you can't do it right now. Like, sit down.
This isn't, yeah. No,
last probably dumb question too, especially from a man asking this to two females. And I think we kind of texted each other off air about it a little bit. Does the enhancements of Macy Barber have anything to do with it, you think, or with the weight? Did that mess up anything of what happened?
100% yes with the weight cut.
Okay.
There's no doubt that that's adding like pound or two extra on you. If you're already, if you are like, you just saw the pictures of her from previous weight cuts to now. I'm like, her face was just sunken in and she missed weight. Where previously she looked healthy. You know, she never looked like too sunken out, or like she just looked like she was cutting weight, but not like deathly. And second, I'm like, I know that when it's not healthy to put foreign objects in your body, foreign silicone in your body can have an adverse reaction. So I'm like, I remember Kat Zingano went through it. She had hers removed because for years and years she kept on getting sick and having like thing happen after thing happen, and then she determined that was the cause of it, is that her body was just rejecting the silicone in her. So I'm like, it's definitely a very large possibility that that's where these health issues could be stemming from as well.
Well, she did get them after the initial health problems that she had after the Caitlyn fight. So I don't think they're the cause, but they could definitely be exacerbating it. And I think there's also something to be said about the layoff and the health problems affecting the weight cut. So like, let's not add another variable. Like maybe without the health problems and with the boob job, she could have made the weight. And maybe without the boob job and with the health problems, she could have made the weight, but maybe just both together was a little much, you know? I think that's also a possibility for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's weight you can't lose. Like you're adding weight you can't lose. And that's something I know other fighters have done it. Fighters who cut a lot of weight, and that's their choice. But for me, I feel like that's never something I would want to add to my weight cut, you know?
Right. And I hate to say this, especially she's still very young. And to me, that, and I don't want to, this is like such a bad guy topic. I feel like I don't think a female should do that in the upcline of her career. Like, she's still young, trying to fight for the championship. Dude, she's fighting Erin Blanchfield. That's a top 5 fight. If Macy gets one over on Erin, Macy's right there. Like, she's a new name, a big name. And if she were to just say knocked out Erin, and whatever happens, fights happen, stuff happens. If she knocks out Erin, they might give Macy a Barbara a title shot. I don't think doing that to her body, and this, how can I just say this? Like I said, it's probably awful coming from me. I think timing wise, it was a really poor judgment on her to get that done. That's just my tea.
It's like me personally, for the weight cut, like if I have to cut an extra 1 or 2 pounds, I'm suffering. Like my once I get down to 116, I feel like my body is like, or like I'd say like 117, my body is done. So I'm like, those last 2 pounds, I suffer. If I had to cut an extra 2 on top of that, I'm like, that's draining me extra for my fight. It's taking away from my career as a whole. Plus, like I said, just what we do isn't healthy in general. Cutting weight, adding adding anything foreign into your body, I'm just not for, because of things like that. Like, we're already messing up our bodies enough, you know? It's like we don't need to add, I don't know, other obstacles for it to handle, I guess. So I'm like, I just feel like in this career, it isn't a smart decision in general. I don't think, just like I say, like if I have to cut, depending if I'm sweating 2 pounds or sweating 4 pounds, I'm going to feel that difference the next day in the fight.
No, I agree.
All right. No more Macy Barber talk. Gee, I know you probably have to run here in a quick, but I do want you at least your top 2. Juliana Pena's fighting Kayla Harrison for the UFC female bantamweight championship. And then Merab Dvalishvili is defending his UFC male bantamweight championship against Sugar Sean O'Malley. Gee, I don't know if you heard, Sugar's not been smoking. I don't know. It's been crazy that he's like not smoking off social media. I don't know if you guys watch the embedded shows yet or watch the countdown. He does seem different. He seems very like into it, if that makes sense. He seems very zoned in, tunneled in, locked in. I don't know. It's kind of like started to persuade me a little bit to the Sugar side. But let's start with the female fight. You got Juliana or Kayla Harrison?
Definitely, obviously, Kayla is the big favorite in this, and I do side with her heavily in this. The only like blip I give Juliana at all is I always count her out, and somehow she's like wins that ugly fight. And I feel like if she might be able to like weather it into the later rounds, that's where I'm like, Juliana might have a chance of a decision, but I'm siding probably a TKO with Kayla with ground and pound.
Okay. And then main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Who wins the main event? UFC 316.
Why you gotta stop smoking weed to get focused? You know? I've been doing just fine. But this is another one where I'm a little bit torn. I'm definitely siding Merab, but just the way that Sean O'Malley approached his 5th round, once he started opening up with those snap kicks to the body, I just really think maybe if he starts implementing that like first round and they approach this camp a little bit smarter. I think last camp he might have been coming in maybe a little bit too cocky, I want to say. I feel like he probably expected to just walk in there and knock Merab out, and when it wasn't happening was when the issues started to come in. So I do think that he is going to be coming more better prepared this time, but I think I'm siding Merab.
Okay. And then and Elle probably thinks I'm crazy because I'm on this. As an outsider or as a common person, I watch everything, and I love seeing what the fighters are doing that week, the week before, how their social media is, how not. And I'm telling you, Elle, I'm feeling the Merab and I know he's always been out there and crazy. I know. But this seems like more than ever. Like the toe thing's a thing. I think he's just like, he's everywhere. Guys, look at every media outlet. They talk to Merab. He's doing interviews every minute, every day. Sugar is at his house training with Demetrius Johnson. Very tunnel vision. I'm telling you, I think Sugar's going to get it done. I have Sean O'Malley upsetting Merab Dvalishvili.
It can happen. Like O'Malley is the kind of fighter that can knock anyone out. I think the benefit. My issue is I think the benefit of focusing like that comes over years and years and years. I
totally agree.
If you think that's an issue for you, I don't think changing it for one camp is what's going to make the difference, you know? And I think Merab is always like that. I really do. I think he's always everywhere. He's always insane. He's always busy. He's always climbing mountains, you know, on social media. So it's like, and also you don't know how much of that was filmed a couple weeks ago and is just being posted this week. I doubt he's distracted. I doubt it.
I think a champion, the longer you're a champion, and to me, there's people like Rose Namajunas that could be very more tunnel vision and locked down, and those champions are all-time greats. And then I think there's sometimes a champion, you get the belt, you kind of, I said this about Alex a little bit, but Alex Pereira was flying every weekend all over the world doing something. It's like, my man, can you be at one goddamn training camp? Can you be at 2 weeks at your gym with your coach? Like, I just think Merab is everywhere. Ray Longo said it on Anik and Florian. It's like, every time I try to call him, like he's like, hey, you should be at your gym at this time. And he's calling him and he's like doing something. He's out doing something. Or I got an interview to do. I just think he's pulled in different. You're the champ, you know, multi-time champ. I think it's different. I think it's something. I cannot wait. Saturday. Oh,
I will say this. The Umar fight was closer than I remember it being.
Oh, 100. Umar won round 1 and 2.
And then Merab clearly won 4 and 5, and 3 was very close.
Right. And
it was a very close fight. It was. And so I will give him that. However, I think with Umar, you have to worry about the wrestling. While you don't. That's not really
this one.
Sean O'Malley's not shooting on Merab. I don't think he can physically shoot on Merab. He's too tall.
I got even one better than that. The Sugar Merab fight is closer than what people think now.
I agree. No,
like everyone thinks Merab dominated them, and he won the championship that night, and he was the underdog. It was a little bit like, oh my goodness, Merab did it. Go watch that fight back. It's a close fight. Merab won 3-2. Like, it's a close fight. So, I don't know. We took way too much of your time. We appreciate you. Probably by next week, we might have some major fight news coming down the pike. We'll see.
Sounds about right.
Okay. There we go. If not, Sunday Morning Brew next Tuesday. Next Friday, Gillian's live at the Dawson's house. Let's go.
I was going to say, maybe we can break it next Friday.
Ooh, we'll see. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
Lee L. Dawson, director of the show. You're the best. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Always good to talk to you guys.
The best. Gillian Robertson.
Wow. I missed, this is my favorite comment we've ever